Welcome back to the final session on SSAS and MDX. So in this session, we'll be discussing about daytime functions, which are very important. So apart from the functions that we discussed so far and the functions that we're discussing in today's session, they are lot hell of functions in SSA, in MDX. So what you need to know is what is the purpose of what the functionality of a function and what are all the input parameters. If the input parameter says that it is a level, so you should get you should get all the possible levels that are available that you can pass to the parameter. So you should understand, okay, level means it should be something like this. If the parameter says that input parameter should, if the function says that input parameter should be a member, then you can think of member like year 2007 is a member, right? So if you can understand the basic concepts which we discussed on the first class, like first class of MDX, like member, level, hierarchy, dimension, and so on, set and tuple, then it's very easy to understand any function in MDX. Okay, let's start with date functions. These are very important functions because people want to analyze their business over a period of time. So for example, let me start with, as usual, a simple query, and let's build complex queries on top of it. Now if I go to sales amount on 0, comma, let's say I'll go with due date. I'll go with calendar. Let's say I'll take calendar year from the user defined hierarchy. On 1, from cube name. Now if I execute it, it will give me the calendar year information that are available in the database. Now if I use non-empty function, non-empty keyboard, it will filter out the empty values and it returns the data for the years that has sales amount. Now let's see a couple of functions. Let's start with opening period. I don't know how many of you guys remember this. We use this function or closing period function when we discuss about the calculations. Basically, the opening period will give the first member of it. What is the first member in the hierarchy? It will give that. Generally, we use it in the daytime calculations. Like if you want to calculate the first month, or if most of the cases the requirement will be like this: always get the data for the last month that is available in the cube, or last year that is available in the cube. So something like that. So in this case, what you need to do is just opening period and give the level, whatever level you want to pass. If I provide this calendar year opening period, it will give me the first year of the hierarchy level. Similarly, I can use calendar, what we have in the hierarchy definition, semester. I'm not sure whether we have semester in this one or not. Let's give it a try. In the user defined hierarchy, we have the semester 2 and it pulls the first semester. Similarly, first quarter. So simply instead of semester, give quarter. So this gives the first quarter of the hierarchy level. Now this function works fine with attribute hierarchies or not. If you ask the question, let's say I'll drag color. Color is an attribute hierarchy. We don't have user defined hierarchy in which we use the color attribute, right? So I dragged, it's not allowing here. Let me cut and paste it. If I execute it, it's giving me the first one, right? So this is how the opening period means. It's just basically the first member. The first member of the hierarchy level will be written. So the same queries, without making any changes, I'm copying the same queries to demonstrate the next thing, that is closing period in the daytime functions. So if you use closing period, if you use closing period instead of this opening period, then it will be like this. So closing period of calendar year, If I execute it, it will try to get the last year that is available in the hierarchy. This is really the closing period. I'm not sure about the opening period, but the closing period is very important in most of the calculations in real time. Let me use closing period for semester and for quarter and for attribute hierarchy. If I use closing period, it will get the last member of the hierarchy. Oops, it's getting the first member. This could be the problem. I mean, if you use in the attribute hierarchy, that is why it was not allowing. My bad. I'm sorry. So generally, it works for, it seems only for hierarchical levels. I never tried this on the attribute hierarchy, to be honest. So if you execute it, it's returning the same information like in opening period. That's why I was shocked. Okay, let's try with a different attribute and whether I'm wrong or I've never used attribute hierarchy in this one, so I might be wrong. When I try to drag and drop, it's not showing. It's not allowing. That could be the reason. And let's give a try. Try to drag and drop the attribute hierarchy level, whether it accepts or not. Let's take the calendar year. Even for this, it's saying the same. Too bad. Okay, let me take the color English product name. Again, let me copy it here and let me execute it for closing period. And it's getting the right one. Let's see for opening period. It is working fine. Okay. But I don't know why it's not working for color. So see here, this is the opening period, working fine. It's showing the first one. Adjustable race, I think, is the first one. Yeah, adjustable race. Let me go with closing period. It's showing woman size, yes, I think small size. It is working fine, man, even for attribute hierarchy, but I don't know why it is not working for the color. Let me try again. Color. Because this closing period or opening period will not go into the next level of user defined hierarchy. It will give the first member and the last member of the current level only, right? So that should not create any problem even for the attribute, because attribute has one level. See here, the black is the last one, closing period, and even for opening it is showing the same. Something we are missing in this one. I guess this is the attribute for which we set the is aggregatable property to false. Let me quickly check that. So we set the is aggregatable property to false to one of the attribute. I'm not sure, I don't remember it because I did it long back. If I go to C, is aggregatable set to false. This is the reason. Stupid. Okay, so this works for attribute hierarchy also, attribute hierarchy level, and the closing period and the opening period will give you the first, and the closing period will give you the last of it. And in my experience, I use this closing period function when I have to get the last member of a particular level, hierarchy level. So this is about opening and closing period. Let's see parallel period. This is the most important interview question. People ask this, like, what have you ever used the parallel period? And second important thing is, a lot of guys who ask this question don't know the answer. Basically, they'll just ask, okay, explain parallel period function or explain some other function. So this is the experience in my life. People ask me this question, and when I started explaining, they say, oh, okay, fine, good. Because MDX itself is the one of the languages that people don't want to learn or people hate. Thinking that it is very tough language, but to be honest, this is very beautiful language. If you learn it, if you get the basics right, then you will enjoy writing MDX queries. Now let's see parallel period, how this works. So for example, parallel period takes 3 levels. And this works fine on user-defined hierarchies, but I don't think we can use it for attribute hierarchies. So let me take one user-defined, let's say, I'll take calendar quarter, or let me process this by adding one more level to that. Let me add month. Okay, I'm adding English month name, and I'm processing the whole database because I changed the is aggregatable property of the color attribute to. So let me process it and get the fresh data, fresh structure into my server. Okay. Okay. Now let me quickly go and check the opening period of the color, just to double check whether these aggregatable properties solve the issue or not. So opening is fine, closing should be fine. Let's see. Yeah, perfect. Now let's go to the parallel period and let me refresh this structure so that I'll get the new hierarchies and all, and select. Let me copy the first line from here. Measures on 0, and let's say I'll go with due date, English month name of, let's say, January of so and so period. This is 2007 January, semester 1, quarter 1, and month 1. I'll make it as 2012 because I have data for 2011 and 2012, 13 and 14 years, but not for the earlier years. So I'm pulling the records for January 2012 from cube name. So if I execute it, comma, mistake. If I execute it, it will give me January data, the January sales amount of the year 2012. Now, how the parallel period works? Parallel period generally takes three parameters. The first one is like what level you want to go back. For example, I'm selecting calendar year level. Okay. And how many you want to go back. Let's say I want to go back by 1, comma, what you want to go back. Like I want to go back the month of Jan. So I'm telling the server like go back by this many number of years. So if I execute it, the output will be again January. But if you see the sales amount change, the reason, if I expand this, if I double click on that, and if I see this, the hierarchy is 11, not 2012. So I'm telling the server to go back by the number that I have given and the hierarchy that I have given. So I'm asking the server to go back from Jan 2012 to 1 year back. So that is why it is taking parallel period, right? So you know parallel period means it is going back to history by 1 year. And what will happen if I give -1? Oops, -11 is too big. So what will happen if I give -1? It's giving me January again, but if you expand, if you double click on this and if you see the year is 2013. So it is taking back by, it's taking forward into the future by 1 year. Now, let me keep it 1. Instead of calendar year, I am giving quarter. So can anyone expect what would be the result for this? So I'm in January 1st and it is taking, no, calendar quarter, right? 1 second. I'm an idiot who wastes all the time. Okay. So the problem is nothing problem in the query. And if you see, if I give -1, it is going to June instead of going to, see parallel period, how it works. If I give -1 of quarter, it has to go this month by 1 quarter forward. That means 1 quarter forward, January to 1 quarter should be April, right? But it is going to June, which is wrong. And if I give -2, it is going to July, which looks correct. And if I give -3, it is going to November, which is again wrong. It should be October, right? The problem here is the way that I ordered the attribute. The attribute is ordered in the alphabetical order of the month name: Feb, Jan, March, April, and so on. That's why it was causing all this mess. And if you see, I've taken the Jan and I asked it to go forward by 1 quarter, that is 1, 2, 3, and it was returning June. When I give second semi -2, it was going forward by 2 quarters, 1, 2, 3, July. It was returning correct value. And when I have given -3, it is returning November, 1, 2, 3. So it always, like, whatever the first parameter you provide, it will go forward by that many number. Like if you give 3 of quarters, it will go forward by 3 quarters. I mean backward by 3 quarters. If you give -3 of a quarter in the first parameter, then it will go into the future by 3 quarters. Similarly, if you give semester, and it works fine, like semester, I'm asking the server to go into the future, -3, right? Go into the future by 3 semesters. So the current month is Jan of 2011, right? This should be July of 2012, because if I go forward by 3 semesters, it should be July, right? And if I give 5 or 4, it should be Jan of 2013. Let's quickly see that. So if I execute it, you can see Jan of 2013. So the problem what we were facing with the quarters is because of the order of the English month name. So if I take that attribute again, English month name, and if I go to the properties, and if you see here, the order by is given as name column, and the name column is English month name, whereas key column is the English month key. So that's the mistake I did. That's why it was causing problem. Okay. Now I changed the order by property to order by key, and I'm quickly processing it. And once I process this, and you can see the months will be ordered in the based on the month number, and you can see proper data. Like if you give 1 quarter to the parallel period, it will go back by 1 quarter. If you give 2, it will go forward, go back by 2 quarters, and so on. So this is successfully processed, and let me go for quarter again, and I'm giving -1. That means it should go into the future by 1 quarter, that is April 2011. And if I give instead of -1, if I give 1, it will go back by 1 quarter, that is October of 2010, where we don't have data. So that's how the parallel period is very useful function. Okay, so like if you want to go back or go into future by a particular level, then parallel period plays a major role in that. So this is one of the important date functions which we use in real time. And the next one is last periods. As the name says, it gives the last n number of periods. For example, I'm copying the query from here. Okay, let me take this semester part, and instead of semester, I have to give a member. Let's say I'm giving October of, this is one headache, I can drag and drop it. Let me copy it and paste it. I'm giving October of 2012, and instead of closing period, I'm using last periods function. So for this last period function, you need to pass a parameter, how many periods you want from the member that you have specified. For example, if you give 4, then it will get 4 periods from that particular member that you pass as the second parameter. Now I passed 10th month of 2012 here, and it took me back, and it fetched all the 4 periods from the current period that you passed as the second parameter. If I give 10, it will give me 10 months information. Starting from October, it went back by 10 months and it will it returned Jan to October. So the last periods is also very important function. You may need it, like last 10 period sales or last 3 period sales. Such kind of reports will be asked by the users. So in that case, you can use last periods. And similarly, we have one more function, periods to date. So this function basically this takes two parameters. Okay, the first parameter says what level you want to give, and the second parameter says up to what member you want to give. For example, if I take the same one, and instead of the first parameter being an integer value, I need to specify a level. For example, calendar year. If I specify calendar year here, and if I execute it, oops, sorry, not last period, periods to date. Okay, if I execute it, what it will do is it will get the data up to this member, whatever the member that you have passed in the second parameter, but starting from the parent, whatever you specified in this level. So if you see here, let me draw this. This is 2004, 2011, 12, let's say. These are 2 semesters. These are 2 quarters of each semester, and these are 3 months of each semester, each quarter. Okay, now I provided October as input. This was my input. So what it will do is, and the first parameter was year level. This is the level. So what it will do is, it will take its parent, and its parent until it reach year level, and then it will take the first member of it at the same level what you have passed in the second parameter. Starting from this, it will give the value up to here. So starting from first month of the year 2000, of the year which this particular second member belongs to, and it will give the it will give the data until the last one. For example, to demonstrate it in a better way, let me take a calendar quarter here. So what will happen if I execute calendar quarter? How many records will be returned? As expected, it's 1, because from this member October, it will go back by 1 parent, because this is the quarter level. The level that I provided as the first parameter is quarter. It is here. It will go back here, and it will take the first member. First member is again the same October, and it will get the data until the October. It's only 1 member. So now, instead of quarter, if I give semester, what will be the result? So it will go back to this level, the semester level, and it will get the parent of the second member, that is semester 2, and it will take the first child at month level, that is July, August, September, and October. So this is how the periods to date works. So this is really a beautiful option, periods to date. It can, like for example, if you want to calculate the year to date information, okay, starting from this year to current date, whatever the value you pass. Let's say if you pass August, then if the server wants to, if you want the server to calculate January to August sales, and if you pass March, then it has to calculate Jan to March. If you pass let's say November, then it has to calculate from Jan to November. Then this plays a very beautiful role, like periods to date function, very, very important. So this is how the periods to date function works. Now let's go back to closing period function. So revisiting closing period, and closing period, I think it takes one more parameter too. Like if you provide a first parameter, let me go back to the closing period and copy one. Here it is. Let me take closing period of quarter. Okay, I'm asking the server to provide the closing period of the quarter, and I'm passing a member, let's say 2012. So the first parameter, you need to pass a member, and oops, I think it's a reverse. Okay, let me try this guy. And if you see this quarter, it is written in the fourth quarter, but I'm forcing the server to give the closing period of the year that I'm interested in. I'm interested in 2012, that is why it is giving fourth quarter. Generally, the closing period will give the last quarter that is available in the level, right? Last member that is available in the level. But here, by using the second parameter, I'm forcing it. Like if I give 2011, then it will give the last period, last closing period that is available in the quarter for the year 2011. So this is an extension to the closing period function. This really, I mean, using this opening period and closing period functions, what you can do is you can you can use these two in range operators also if you want to get the full range of it, starting from starting point to the ending point, if you want to get the complete information, or if you want to use this closing period as the ending point of in your range operator, you can use that. So these are one set of functions which are very important. A parallel period is must enter the question, and last periods and periods to date very important, opening and closing periods too. Now we're going to discuss about very important datetime functions. You might have heard about this. In every interview people talk about this: year to date, quarter to date, month to date. I think that's it. Week to date. I'm not sure. I never tried this week to date, but let's try it today. So YTD, people will be using this YTD. Please give me YTD information. YTD means year to date. If you pass a member, let's say August, then it will give you starting from Jan to August. If you pass April, then it will give you Jan to April. Let's see an example for YTD. It's more like a periods to date with two parameters. Okay, but YTD is more better in performance and everything. So you just need to provide the parameter where you want to go till, like here in this case, starting from 2012 to 2000. 2000. I mean, starting from Jan of 2012 to October. But here, if when I use the YTD function, it is throwing an error saying that by default a year level was expected. No such level was found in the cube. So the reason is this is the most common issue because no one cares about the setting this property when they design the cube. Now let me show you what is the property that you need to set. First of all, this is the date dimension. We know that, but the server does not know that. So to let the server know, you need to set a property. Okay, let me go to properties, pin it, and let me close this for some time. Okay, so if I select on the dimension name, you can see a property called type here. So type, if you set it to regular, that means a regular dimension with string information. But here you need to set it as time. So this is a time dimension. You are maintaining the data that relates to the date and time. Once you did that, then you have to set for calendar year. What is the usage or type? Date time, calendar. Under that, what is this? It is year, correct? So select this as years. Okay, usage is different, regular or key or parent, which we discussed in our sessions. So type is what you need to set. This, I mean, if you send an information like, okay, this type is years, that means the server will make a note of it. Okay, calendar year attribute is the one which is having year information. And similarly, calendar, you need to set the, I mean, semester, you need to set this like under calendar. There'll be something called half years. This guy, that means semesters. And similarly, quarters, it should be date, calendar, and there will be something called quarters, I think. Here it is. And similarly, months, let me set the type to for of the calendar, and month of the quarter, month of the year. And do you have anything else? Let me add the date too. Full date alternate key, where is that? Full date alternate key contains the date information, okay? And also week number of the year, you can have this. Now let me set the week number of the year property. Let me click on this. So the type should be set to week of the year. So calendar, can I see weeks anywhere here? Here it is. And similarly, full date alternate key, let me set it to date. This is the base date. I have date, yeah, here it is. Now that's it. I defined this date and dimension as a date dimension. I mean the type is set to date time, and the server will know, okay, this is the date dimension and it has years, quarters, semesters, months, weeks, and date information. Let me quickly process it. This is processed successfully. Now let me process the cube too, because I did process update, so it should be good. So let me quickly execute it before processing the whole cube, and you can see now the data is returning. Now it is not complaining that the member that I passed is not an year or it's not a hierarchy, blah blah blah. So that is the very important thing you have to keep in mind when you are using YTD, QTD. If there is anything like MTD, and MTD is there, but WTD, if you want to try anything like this, then you need to use that. So this is about YTD function. What you need to do is just YTD of so and so. If you pass month number like 7, then it will give you data up to July, starting from Jan. And this used a lot in calculations. YTD of the year sales divided by YTD of previous year sales, and something like this. I'll write a simple calculation for you guys to explain. With member, I'll name it as YTD sample as. So I know YTD of the member that I passed will give me this year sales. Okay, YTD of so and so dot, I'm asking the server to give the sales amount. Now if I execute it, this should be sum, and if I use this in my columns, comma, this will form a set because both are measures. And if I execute it, let's see, hope it won't throw error. It is giving me the YTD sales starting from the Jan to July. If you sum all these guys, it will be 32355543. I've written a simple calculation to give me the YTD sales of this year. This is this year's sales. Okay. Now, if I want to calculate for the last year, divided by this, I can use a lot of functions. Dot lag of 12, what it will do? Any idea? Dot lag of 12, it will take me back by 12 months, and it will land me in 2011 July, and I'm calculating YTD of 2011 July sales amount. You should have understood what it returns. Now if I execute it, that's divided by this, okay, 0.89. If I do into 100%, that is 89% growth. So something like that. This is how we calculate the functions, YTD, MTD, and so on. So YTD function, basically, if you understand the concept, if you pass a member like a month or a week or whatever you want in the hierarchy, if you pass anything, then it will start from the first member of the same, just like periods to date. How the periods to date work? It goes to the same level that you have given in the first parameter, and it will come back and it will do the job. So that is how this YTD also works. Now let me do one thing. Here I've given months, that is fine. Let me drag something else. Instead of months, let me take I think my hierarchy has weeks and dates also now. Let me go to let's say week number. I'm picking some week number 20. Nothing is accepting in the functions. This is shit. And I don't want to go for 2005 because 2005 does not have data. I'll go for 2012, month 5, week 20. And if I execute it, you can see starting from the first week to 20th week, it will give you the information. So this is the beauty of YTD. It doesn't care what level you are in. It just cares whether it is part of your hierarchy or not, the member that you're passing, and it will start calculating YTD for that. So this is about YTD. Now let's see QTD, quarter to date. So no need to explain a lot about QTD because it starts from the quarter. So it's October and it starts from the October. Let's say if I've given 08 or simply 8, that means 8th month, August. August belongs to the third quarter, right? So third quarter starts from July. So it will give you July and August. If you want to get these quarter sales or a particular member's quarter sales starting from the start of the quarter to the member that you have passed, then you can go ahead with QTD. So always remember whenever you are using YTD or QTD, let's say here I'm using QTD, right? I cannot go for years here. You see what I mean? So if I request for QTD and if I pass year as input parameter, let's say I'm passing 2012 as input parameter for the QTD. This quarter, if you see, quarter is lower level than the year, correct? So that is why it is not returning any data. So always remember, if you are doing a QTD, then it should be anything less than this or equal to this, quarter or month or week. If you're doing YTD, it should be either year, semester, quarter, month or week number or day number. So it should be anything below to that level that you are trying to, I mean that the function that you are trying to use. Year to date means you should give anything less than or equal to year, but not above that. Similarly, quarter to date means you can use anything, any member which is from the levels like from quarter to anything below that. Similarly, if you go for week to date, you can give either a week or full date alternate key, but you cannot give quarter for week to date. So here if you give year, then it's not returning any data because it is higher level than what the function is meant for, or the functionality of the function is defined for. So now let me give a month, or let me give a week. Okay, let me take 40th week. I don't know which which month and which year it belongs to, but it starts from the quarter and it ends at the 40th week. So the quarter started at the 27th week and it reads the data, it returns the data till 40th week. So this is about QTD function. Now similarly, let's try month to date. Month to date is similar. If you give week, it starts from the first week of the month. No such level in the queue was found. Oops, no level, no month level. Okay, let me try something else. Okay, let me drag this guy. How come this guy is getting English month name as the, it should be week number of the year, right? Why it is getting English month name? Something wrong in the definition. The reason could be the attribute relationships. So full date alternate key should be falling into the week number of the year and they should be with day, and the week number should be having some problem because it is only starts with 1 to 52. So let me add calendar year. Okay, now this should be perfect, and full date alternate key will not have any problem. It's like January 1st 2011 to or 2005 to so and so. So let me process this again. I made some change to this, so let me do process update. Okay, it's going for process full and it failed. A duplicate key has been found from dim date, calendar year, dim date. Let me fix this issue, guys. And let me refresh the hierarchy again. It looks like some data issues in the week, so I've removed the week from my query. And for MTD, let me drag, let's say, a particular date. We know we have data for 2012 year, right? So I'll go to year 2012. Better drag and drop something here. Control X, and I'll paste it for month to date and make it as 2012 year. So if you see, this is third day of 7th month of the year 2012. No such level was described in the cube. This is bad. Let me quickly see the dimension again. So English month name, this is what I defined as months, the type, month of the year. I think it should be months, that's the problem. Sorry. This was the mistake. So let me process it. Okay, it's going for process update, so you don't need to process the cube again. And let me execute it again. And you can see it is working fine now. So the input that I have given is like third day of July, and starting from the month it gives the data up to that particular date. If I give 25th of July, then the data will be returned starting from the first of the month to July 25th. So here you can see this is how you can get month to date. If you want to calculate the month to date information, then you can use this function month to date. Similarly, we have week to date. You don't need to worry about which week it belongs to. If you execute WTD, I never used it. Let me try it. A week level was expected. No such level was found in the cube. This is a mess here. Week number of the year, Control F. Weeks are defined. Let me drag it into the hierarchy, one level above here. And full date alternate key should go to weeks. And this should not go here. But we're getting some duplicate. Oops. What happened? But we're getting some duplicate issue. That's why I'm in duplicate key when I use the week. That's why I removed it. So this should be dragged onto English month name. Let me drag it onto the English month name. Come on. Okay. So now if I process it, it is causing problem with the duplicate key error. Let's see. Hope that is solved. That is why I removed the week from the hierarchy. If it causes the issue again, then I have to fix this issue. So basically what I'll give you an idea about this week to date function. What week to date function will do is like, I can show you once I fix that data issue. So what this week to date will do is it will start from the week. For example, if I give this as input, if I give 21st as input, 21st September 2005 as the input parameter to the week to date, starting from the week starts from Sunday and it will give 20 and 21st sales. Or if I give 17 as the input, 17th of September 2015, starting from the week, that is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 data will be written. More like month to date. Month, it starts from the month, and quarter, it starts from the quarter, and month to date, it starts from the month, week to date, it starts from the week. The only thing that you need to remember is always you should provide something as the parameter, a member as the parameter, which belongs to the level lower to that or equal to that. If it is week to date, you can provide either week or date here. If it is month to date, you can provide month, week, or date. Similarly, quarter to date, quarter, month, week, or date. Year to date, year, semester, quarter, month, week, or date. So that is how you need to provide the input parameter for the datetime functions. So these these four functions are very important along with the remaining functions which we discussed in today's session. And this is about the most important datetime functions. The key in using the datetime functions is first setting the properties properly, the dimension type and the attribute type here. Okay. So if you don't set this, none of the functions will work, like YTD, MTD, anything. If you don't set the type of the dimension and also type of the attribute, then none of the functions will work. So be careful, first set this if you want to make use of those functions in your MDX. So if you ask me whether these are the functions you will be coming across in your real time projects, I'd say yes, but MDX functions. So this is one page which I regularly visits, like where you'll have all the functions. There are a lot hell of functions, and based for every version they'll be adding functions. If you see here, there'll be different set of functions, a lot of functions getting added. And if you see 2005, there'll be very less functions compared to the latest release. So what you need to do is if you click any one thing, let's say for example, set to array. If you click on that, it will give you the information like, okay, this converts one or more sets to an array for use in the user defined function. Okay. In that case, it will give you the set expression. This is the input, and it will explain you what that set expression is, what can be passed. A valid multidimensional expression that results a set. That means anything. Even you can use filter function, but it should return a set of members or set. So that can be passed as the first parameter, and what will happen, a couple of examples will be given here. So covering all the functions is impossible, and that is why you just go to the functions, and if you have any queries, you can just write a mail to me at rupesh71@gmail.com. I'll try to explain or provide the explanation in a different way than in the Google or in the online databases. So this is about MDX and this is about SSAS, and hope you enjoyed the sessions, and hope we will meet again in future. Thank you very much for being part of these SSAs and training sessions. Have a bright future. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.